This week we're following the Lewis and Clark Trail, and today we are in North Dakota at the confluences of the Yellowstone and Missouri rivers where Lewis and Clark hung out. The Missouri Yellowstone Confluence Interpretive Center. Let's check it out. This is exactly where the Yellowstone meets the Missouri River. This is the Fort Union Trading Post. It was a bustling fur trading hub back in the early 1800s. It's since been partially reconstructed. These are my in-laws. Hi, in-laws.
This is the trade room. It's where all of the business would have happened in the fort. You'd have a group of people come in from whichever tribe you're trading with that day. The trader would have a meal and some coffee that they could chit-chat, and there were some speeches back and forth. Then about 8 hours later, they would do the actual trading part of it. They would bring in probably the middle range furs that they had, and then they'd go back and forth trying to get the best price for everybody. And then once everything is set in here, that means that is the price that's set up for the rest of the tribe. And they'd be usually camped around the fort walls in teepees. They'd come up to the small wall windows there, or wickets, and hand in their furs to the clerk that's on duty, and then the clerk would hand them the different trade goods that they were looking for. All of these are representative of different trade items that would have come up on the steamboat from St. Louis. We have most of this stuff would have come from Europe. So we have trade silver from Belgium. There were English wool blankets, French calicos and cloth. There were bells and coffee from Brazil, sugar from Costa Rica, things like that. So you get it all coming to the kind of headquarters in St. Louis, and then that would come up once a year on steamboat.
This is the Bourgeois House, which was one of the more elaborate structures on the upper Missouri River during the peak of the fur trade. This is the clerk's office at the trading post, and this is where Indian leaders and the bourgeois would get together and meet and just form great alliances with each other, and also meet here to determine the price of different items that were being traded for the day. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be inside of a teepee? Well, let's find out, shall we? Not quite what I expected. Welcome. Let's go into the Bourgeois House. All right.
This was historically the bourgeois or post manager's house. He would live here along with other members of his family if he had any here. Upper level clerks would be here also. Sometimes different guests. The basement was a well-stocked European wine cellar. When they reconstructed, they didn't do that. They put it in ranger offices. I like the idea of a Fort Union wine club, but no one asked me. So that's the way that it is.
This is one of two bastions at Fort Union, and they are on either side of the fort. And not only did they house cannons to protect the area from intruders, but also they were used to store things and provided guest quarters as well. So this is Fort Buford. And one of the more notable things that happened here was the surrender of Sitting Bull. So this is the cemetery just outside of Fort Buford. And only around 6 of the people who were buried here actually died in combat. The rest of them died from disease, or people like Schaefer Edward, who was a corporal. He was murdered on December 13th of 1878. Kramer Lewis was a private, and he drowned. Nolan James died of typhoid. Brown Henry died of Bright's disease, whatever that is. So if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of Lewis and Clark, or maybe take a step back in time and see what it was like to be a fur trader in the early 1800s, make sure you stop by Fort Buford and Fort Union, just outside of Sidney, Montana, on the Montana-North Dakota line. And if you like this video, please smash that subscribe button and like us as well. In the meantime, happy trails.